New York Times with a fascinating story about Donald Trump and his intentions for 2024. And then Donald Trump Jr. Mad at other people that might be running for 2024. It almost sounds like they're setting something up. And then Fox News joins in. We got a pattern, and that pattern leads to a couple of different conclusions. But before we get to the conclusions, let me share with you. So New York Times writes, Mr. Trump has long toyed with starting his own television network to compete with Fox News. Now we know that, but here comes the interesting part. And in private, lately, he has broached the idea of running again in 2024, although he would be 78 by then. Okay, first conclusion, why would you have to run in 2024 if you just told us in a speech you just did that you're gonna win this election? So apparently you don't think you won this election. Apparently you already know you lost this election. So thank you very much for that admission. Then Greg Gutfeld jumps in and he says, if you think Trump is going away, this is just a second act. 2020 is the second act. 2024 is the third act. So it has begun. And if you weren't clear enough yet, Donald Trump Jr. is going to conveniently go out there and bash other potential 2024 candidates. He goes on Twitter and he says the total lack of action from virtually all of the 2024 GOP hopefuls is pretty amazing. They have a perfect platform to show that they're willing and able to fight, but they will cower to the media mob instead. Don't worry, Donald Trump will fight and they could watch as usual. I thought you guys said that you had already won this election. It's funny how you're planning for the next election and taking pot shots at other Republicans. And notice, look, this is important. If you really need backup in trying to win an election you actually won and make sure there's no fraud, well, the most important people would be people like, within the Republican Party, people like Ronna McDaniel, who's the head of the RNC, Mitch McConnell, who's the head of the Republicans in the Senate, Kevin McCarthy, who's the head of the Republicans in the House. Those would be your most critical allies, and people in state legislatures in Pennsylvania, Georgia, the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, etc., right? But he didn't mention any of those. He just took a shot at 2024 hopefuls when they have nothing to do with what's happening right now. One to grow on. Okay, so now let's analyze what happens if Donald Trump runs in 2024 and these threats that they're putting out there. By the way, he did give a shout out to allies, Don Jr. did. He said, Rick DeSantis is okay and Josh Hawley's okay. Well, I have to confess something, and I hope you're sitting. I actually think it's a good idea. Not for Trump to run in 24, for the country, that's a disastrous idea. But if you're Trump and you want to maintain leverage, you'd want to have the threat looming out there that you might run in 2024, because then they don't discard you, whether it's now or after you lose. Because if they think you have no power and will never either return the power or use the leverage and power that you have now, yeah, they will throw you in the trash bin because they're politicians. And by the way, the Republicans can't wait to get rid of him. He oppresses them, the legislators, not the voters. He oppresses the Republican politicians more than anyone else. If you veer 1 inch away from Trump lies, he goes, how dare you not lie on my behalf? How dare you not break the law on my behalf? So some of them are here for it and they love breaking the law and lying on his behalf. But others are like, gee, well, we get rid of this guy. But if it turns out he might run in 2024 and he's still incredibly popular, 93% with the Republican voters and 93% of them voted for him, now they got that looming over their head. And so they're gonna have to deal with that. And is it inconceivable that he would actually run in 2024? Not at all inconceivable. I was going to bring it up on election night. That's the most logical thing for Trump to do. Now, a lot of folks are saying he can't run from prison, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, that's wishful thinking, and that might be true, and he is a criminal, but that would require a non-Republican to have strength in the country. So, unfortunately, I don't think we're rid of him yet, Anna.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this story is nonsense.
No, okay, she threw that out there. Okay,
Yeah,
why do you think it's nonsense?
Because he's embarrassing. And after he loses this election, I mean, think about the number of Republicans. First of all, okay, a few different reasons. Reason number one, most people who engage in politics are power-hungry egomaniacs. Most of them, not all of them, but in our current political climate, that's what I've seen, especially in the Republican Party. With that said, there's a long list of right-wingers who are eyeing a run in 2024. Okay, Tom Cotton, even Tucker Carlson, all these various people are considering it. And so Donald Trump threatening to run in 2024 is not gonna sit well with them, but they don't even matter that much. It's about the electorate, right? What was the appeal of Donald Trump among his supporters? This notion that he's a winner, right? He's a businessman, he's a winner. He's the one on The Apprentice telling people he's fired. Right now, he's wearing a diaper, throwing a temper tantrum about this election, which he is legitimately losing. It's turning people off. I've noticed that Republican leadership has actually been very quiet and has not gone along with Donald Trump's nonsense about this election allegedly being stolen by Democrats. I just think, I don't know. He might attempt it. I'm just not really worried about it.
Okay, that's so funny. We have role reversal here because normally you're pessimistic about Trump and I'm optimistic. Look, you're absolutely right about Republican leadership. I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, if McConnell wanted to really put his weight behind this, you would know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and if he thought they had a chance of winning, he'd be all out for it. And there isn't any legislative trick or any political trick that McConnell wouldn't do. McConnell's 1,000 times smarter than Donald Trump and far more dangerous. So in that sense, there is a curious case of missing Mitch McConnell. So you're absolutely right about that. And like I said earlier, I think the Republican legislators can't wait to get rid of him, or a big chunk of them. But Anna, Republican voters aren't abandoning Trump. They don't think what he's doing is pathetic. They never abandon Trump. Nothing that he does ever gets them to change their mind. So you're the one who says that all the time. You think that his pathetic little tantrums is gonna change Republican voters' minds? No way. Now, I know the history is, okay, when Jimmy Carter loses, George H.W. Bush loses, they're perceived as weak, so then they lose their power. But Donald Trump could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and 93% of Republicans would still vote for him, and we all know that. So now, don't get me wrong, I think what is gonna happen, and now I'm with Trump, I'm wary of making any predictions, but is that in the beginning, he'll still maintain all of that leverage and that support from the Republican voters. And then he will start to get increasingly desperate as the media covers him less. And in his desperation, he will do humiliating things. And we hope peter out at that point, just because he can't help himself. But if he still had this level of support, he would of course be the top candidate in 2024 for Republicans.
Brad Parscale, who is embarrassing in his own right, tweeted this today. If you want to win in 2024 as a Republican, I would probably start saying something, just saying. Donald Trump Jr. is upset that Lindsey Graham hasn't come to Donald Trump's rescue. It's just so delicious.
Well, they're all slime. So Lindsey Graham admitted that he was hanging on to Donald Trump and kissing his ass for political reasons to have access to power. Now that Trump's not going to have any power, Lindsey Graham has left the ship. As the USS Trump sinks and Don Jr. and Parscale are rearranging the chairs on the deck, the rats have left the ship, and so that part is clear. But the only thing better than Donald Trump trying to hang on to relevance will be Donald Trump Jr. trying to hang on to relevance. And so, Uday, please tell me what Kusei says. We all can't wait. Yeah, not a bright future, let's put it that way. And if they say, Don Jr. might run, please, can't wait. Can't wait. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.